Well, good morning. This is me. I tell you, it's raining outside. It's raining. And it took me a few more minutes extra to try to get the dog together this morning. But good morning. Good morning. This is Sandy Winborn. I'm checking in with you, hoping you're ready for a good day, despite of what it might be doing outside or in spite of. We're just happy that we're seeing another day. We have an opportunity to see, ourselves for who we are, to get down to the what I call the good of it, to figure out who we are. So I'm going to ask you the question: are you stuck? Yes, we are all stuck. Right now it's quarantine. Good morning, Shayla, up in New York. Glad you're with us. We're going to have a good time today. Another time for you. I just love coming on and being with you. But I want you to know that this is really special for me. It's not only helping me, but my prayer is that it is helping you. That we will work together through some things. I have some new questions today. And for those who are just starting on, I'll give a few minutes for people to come on into the room. We just want to say that there's so many things that we can look back on and say that we made mistakes, that we turned left and we should have turned right. We went down and we should have gone up. We went to the left and we should have gone right. All those things pretty much we're human. And so we're going to make some choices. At the time they may have thought we might have thought they were great. They were great choices at the time, but then later on, we change some things. We come up with whatever else is going on, and so the excitement is that you got time. You got another day to work on yourself. For those who are just joining me, we want to talk about multiple intelligences, which goes beyond IQ. IQ is really testing your ability in terms of your math and your science and those kinds of things, which talks about your brilliant level, okay? Or you might be in the range where you're not as brilliant, but you're insightful. You have some things going on. This goes beyond that. This really speaks to what else do I have going on. When we were given our brains and our ability for all the things that we do, we weren't just given the brain. We were given great things. We were given the ability to hear and to see and to move and to create. All those things are part of who we are, which makes us very, very special. It makes us, sometimes I get up in the morning and I'm absolutely amazed at all the things that I have been given. And anybody that knows me knows I try to use every little thing that I've been given, and that's what we want to do for you. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about don't quit, because if you're wanting to find out about multiple intelligence, I'm going to put that in our link. So after the post, I'll make sure that is there. And that just makes it where you go in and it will give you your full, the details about who you are just by your answers. And if you're true to your answers, it's going to give it to you. It's going to tell you some things that are absolutely so nice. And so what I suggest to you is do that. Take that it gives you a little bit about personality. It gives you some information on your career. It also gives you the kind of person that you might be. It's going to tell you, that you have a high proficiency in this and a low in that. Like for me, it's music is my high, linguistics is my second, and then all the way down the bottom is naturalist, because I have no intentions of hanging outside. Don't ask me too much on hanging out on an outdoor party. I may come, but I'm probably the first to leave. I'll probably be the last to get there and the first one to get up out of there. I just don't like all of the insects and stuff, So anyway, that's me. But I want you to find out for yourself who you are. And the multiple intelligences test, which is free, is really good to take. So if you haven't taken it yet, if you've already taken it, put it in the the thread there. Write it to your post. And also share this. Share this to some people that may benefit from me talking every day. I do it Monday through Friday, and the intention, of course, is that I help you out while I'm helping myself out. I'm always used to, training or doing something with somebody one-on-one or in an organized group. So the fact that I don't have that right now, since we're all under quarantine, I am re-rigging myself. I am, recalibrating myself, finding another way forward. And so that makes it exciting for me. But this morning I have something called Don't Quit. And this is not anonymous, so it's not mine. Good morning, Shay. How are you? Okay, and it says, don't quit. And it says, when things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but please do not quit. Life is queer when it's twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a future turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up. Though the pace seems slow, you might succeed with another blow. Often the goal is nearer than it seems to a faint and faltering man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when the night slipped down how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight. When your heart is hit, it's when things seem worse that you mustn't quit. So I know I've given you this is called Don't Quit, and it's by Anonymous, not mine. But sometimes we are faced with some tasks that really require us to go deep into who we are, what we're all about. Good morning, Craig and Vanessa. So happy that you came and dropped by. Even if you don't stay, just put a little smile there just to say that you enjoyed the 2 seconds that you were here. I love it. I absolutely love it. But sometimes we can't quit. And I'm asking you now to go down into your basement. The basement, when I use that as a paraphrase, I'm really using it as one that says I got to go down in order for me to come back up. I got to shed some stuff. I got to get rid of some stuff. I have to realize that my worth isn't in what I think I am and what people see me as. My worth is in what I know about myself, what I know I am. We live in a facade. Sometimes, you never know people because they don't let you know them. And I know I've been that. I've been one that will run, from relationships, not so much friendships, but any kind of relationship, I would run from it. So sometimes you have to ask yourself, why are you running? Where are you going? Sometimes we run away because we don't want people to know who we are. And we're special, but we need to be special to ourselves first. Then guess what? We can face anything. We can face anything and anybody. Good morning. Good morning, Grover and Deborah. We can know anybody because we are fearless and wonderfully made. Isn't that what it says? And sometimes we walk around thinking that we have less to give when really we need to go back into our goodie bag, find our worth, because our worth is there. Find our worth and bring it out and showcase it. You're showcasing it for yourselves, not for others. You're just in a position to say, I know what I want. I know what I need in my life. This is important to me. So when I'm asking you to go down to your basement and declutter your steps, that means on your way down to the things that you know are down there. Always in what I call a dungeon, there's a lot of things that we're afraid of. We're concerned about. We're intimidated by. We're all those things. all those descriptive things that talk about what's in the basement. But guess what? Once you come up out of your dungeon and you've cleared the steps and you've cleared out all the things, you got some treasures, because you also found out that you were more tolerant, that you were more able, that you were more capable, that you were more willing, that you would try things, that you would do things that you wouldn't do before, and you can do them alone. So many of us have to have a lot of people around to get anything done. Why? I don't know. Good morning, Joan. We don't need a lot of people. What we need is to know what our true capabilities are. We need to know our true worth for ourselves, not for anybody else. We're not worried about anybody else. Hopefully after quarantine, not only will you know yourself, but you'll know yourself and how you're able to deal with other people. You don't find everything sits in other people, that you can find some things in yourself that sit well. You're not worried about what they do. You're concerned about what you can do. You're not worried about, once again, the we, but you're looking at the me. And I want you to look at me. Both of those words, when you think about it, we being collective and me being singular, also talks about the fact of a singular has to stand up in the middle of we, or someplace in we, and still have a position. But a lot of times we give our position up. Someone else becomes our voice. Someone else becomes, the way we talk, the way we walk, the way we dress, the way we carry ourselves. Unnecessary stuff. Who are you? Stand up for yourself in any situation. Be it once you go to work in your meetings. Be it, having to what I call decently and in order, talk to your boss about things that may not be right. Talk to your children, talk to your spouses, talk to your significant other. Be in a position of knowing who you are and being able to speak on it. That's vital, because, I don't care how old you are, unless you're like 18, but if you've lived long enough, you've learned some stuff. Even if you're 18, by the time you're 18, you've learned some things. Because they said everything we really need to know, we learned in kindergarten. That's what they say. Such as following directions, knowing to stand in line, knowing to be patient, waiting your turn, all those kinds of things. But sometimes we let those things carry over to us, and we still look at those things as if we were in kindergarten. We're not. So that means that, yes, we're going to stand in line, and yes, we're going to, wait our turn and all those kinds of things. But when we are ready and it's time for us to speak, we need to speak on it. When it's time to make a decision, we need to decide. When it's time for us to go someplace and it's our time to go, we need to go. But we also need to be prepared. And so that's what I'm hoping that you're using this time for, is to prepare. Is to get down into that basement, clear out that clutter. And it can be physical clutter. It can be emotional clutter. It can be, what I'd call trust issue clutter. It could be people, just saying, okay, I just got to, when I'm up out of this, I'm done with that person, because I've allowed myself to see who I really am, to adjust to how I've always lived my life, or I've lived my life a long time like that. You can come out of that. You can move to another side of your life where you're in control. And I do have some questions today for you. So I hope you have your pens and paper ready, because these questions, once again, it gets down to, good morning, Katrina. It's important to get down to what we're all about. And if we never realize that what we have to stop doing or to quit doing, we continue to do what we've always done, and we get the same results. We don't move very far. We get to my question, are you stuck? Yes, we're all stuck. We've been stuck on some things for a long time. And so it's important. Good morning, Al and Sharon. It's important for us to know what to do at whatever time it's necessary to do it. To me, this is striking time right now to come out of this, to be shut down. You know, to me, if you're a godly and spiritual person, then you know that for me, God shut down the world. He told the world, take a break. We're on pause. We're on pause. So what do you do with the pause that you've been given? What do you do with it? Do you come back out of here and say that you just did puzzles? And puzzles, if that's all you have to do, I'm not, there's no gripe in me about that at all. No criticism, because I love to do a puzzle. But for me, I took this upon myself to say, I need to make a change. I need to look at what's too close to me. Clutter, what's too close to me. In fact, I was talking to a friend yesterday, and we were talking about some of the books and things that have been out there that really speak to, are you enough? And there is a book that, and I didn't look up the author this morning, but we used it at our church at one of our summer sessions for training and Bible training and stuff. So I say that sometimes we don't realize that we are enough, but because we give so much away, we don't know our worth anymore, And the other one is called Simple Abundance. Simple Abundance. That's an oxymoron statement, simple and abundance. They don't agree, but guess what? They do. Because it says that the more abundance you have, the less simple things are. But if you have things that are very simple, the more abundance you have, because then you have more time. You have more, energy. You have more time for creativity. You have, the ability to write the book that's in you. There's so much more to it being simplified. But because, we have so many things that make our lives so complicated that we don't always stay in the lane that we need to at least own, And so my questions today are, and I hope you have your pen and paper. The first question is, what must you give up, if anything, during this quarantine? What would it be? What must you give up? What is it? Is it people? Is it, sugar? I love sugar, but I gave it up. What would your give up be? And sometimes we don't know what our give up be because we want everything. And we want it often. And sometimes the more we have it, the more we crave it. The more we are involved in it, the more we want to be with it, So that would be my first question for you. What would you do? And you can write anything in the little thread there, and you can also hit this as a share. And then the other one says, what do you need to find in your basement? What do you need to go back and find? What would it be? What would it be? And I kind of gave a similar question yesterday. What didn't you complete? What have you not completed? What would you go back and redo if you could do it? That's important, because I think about some of the things even for myself. What would I go back and do? And I would change some things, maybe think about who I married, or, and I know it was a gift at the time, but sometimes the gifts that we get, we have to realize when their value leaves, then we need to leave. And sometimes we stay. We stay with people, we stay with jobs, we stay with friendships, we stay with a lot of things that become caustic and worrisome for us, but we continue to stay. And so, I always ask myself, well, if I had to go back and redo that again, I might do it differently. And then again, I wouldn't, because see, this is that up and down. I wouldn't, because I wouldn't have my offspring. I wouldn't have my child. So, I think of it in that respect too. That we're given things to go through, but those things are to make us stronger, to also make us not look back. Remember, my program really talks about don't look back. And what is your lot? Lot is launching opportunities in transition. Well, this would be a transition. I'm asking you to transition. I'm asking you to make some changes, you know. But they're not my changes for you. They're your changes for you. And so therefore that would make it a necessary change, a good change. Good morning, Lisa. It would be a good change to move up, you know, what I say, up your stairs. And to me, if you have less clutter, you can get up the stairs faster, can you not? You can get up the stairs faster. You can move around. It's like, you know, for me, when I dropped the weight, I could move better, you know. When I left a job that was burdensome to me, I could think better. You know, when I stopped having so many people in my ear telling me what to do, then I could make a decision. And so what I'm asking you to do, if you needed to give up something, okay, give it up. But then what do you need to find when you're down there in your basement, when you're rummaging around, when you look at some of the things that you've picked up along the way, that you can cast them out now. You don't need them anymore. They were a good lifesaver at the time, but now they can be thrown away. And thrown away, as I said, I always talk about that. Decluttering is tough. It's tough to declutter anything, you know, because we have sentimental value to it. We have a connection to it. You know, our parents, we have love for it. We have love for an item, even though we don't have the person anymore. We have a love for what it is that it did for us at the time. So it takes us back. Well, I say, you know, and I'm getting to that point where I take pictures of stuff and say, you know what, this is just taking up space and maybe I can get a little money for it and do some things which really say that I can move forward. But a lot of times we don't. We stay with what we've been given. We keep what we've been given. And guess what? It becomes more and more and more and more and more and more on top of us, you know, making us hard to be found. And what I'm saying to you is find out who you are. Get down through that basement, get rid of that clutter. And even after quarantine, you may not be finished. You may have more things to do, more things, you know. You may need to just say, you know what, I gave away so much stuff. I still have stuff to give away. I just feel that if we can't go all the way down and dig out the things that we know have hurt us, have disappointed us, have gave us love at the time or gave us enjoyment at the time, then give them away if they still have use for somebody else to enjoy. Sell them and make a profit off of it, and you know, blow up the picture or something, or put a picture in a scrapbook of what it was, what it did for you. Write a note by it, say this made me happy when I got this ring. You know, this did my I remember when I was coming up, my mother and father always had, well, my father could care less, always had the spoon and and the fork on the wall. I remember that. I remember there were several things that were in the homes of folks. And good morning, my little nephew, Sean. But there were so many things on the home of certain folks. And one of them was a large fork and spoon was in the kitchen. And on the wall, there was always a picture of John F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, and there was one other. Occasionally you would find, well, all the time you found Jesus, absolutely. But occasionally I saw Lincoln on a few of them. I said, oh, they must have gone a little up a little bit to find some more. But the point is that those were our visual role models, you know, to understand peace and justice and kindness and worthiness and to fight for what you deserve to have and all those kinds of things that represented that. I didn't know what the spoon and fork represented except that it was time to eat. But I do remember that. I remember the kitchen and how it was always set up, and you know, and as I told you, I'm from New York, and so we grew up on flats, and so we understood that we had some walking to do, and the basement was never anything that was my choice. And so telling people to go to the basement, it really sets it apart, because it really says, I'm not going back down there. I remember what was down there. But you put a lot of more things in the trunk, in the basement of that could be even an old trunk. It's that I remember going through my mother's trunk and there was always something in it. But the last question I have for today, who is the one person you go to during your crisis? Do you feel you're in crisis now? You know, because some people, loneliness is crisis. And I want to say something to you, you know, for those of you who don't know, I have been, I was a counselor for years and years and years, both mental health and also educational. And then I did, family relations counseling. So I've been a experienced counselor for years. But if you're experiencing depression during this time, during your alone time, because some people alone is just too much for them, then you need to seek out some of the services that are available through the local, community here. I know Lakeview has a program. There's hotlines. There's a lot of things. And this is one of the times you should phone a friend. And if you have a camera phone, then you can, do the exchange on both sides and have an opportunity, good morning, Shirley, where you can actually see each other. Because sometimes when you see somebody, you can feel better. And so I'm just offering that up. I no longer do it personally anymore, but I certainly know what to do and where to go. So you can certainly hit me up for that, and I will give you some information. But the point is that loneliness sometimes brings out the worst in people because they find themselves to be alone and therefore feeling that they don't have any of their own real, what I would call their engine, their support of other people around them to keep them going forward. But if you dig in your basement, if you're able to go to the basement and able to get rid of things that you no longer need, you don't need a lot of stuff around you, you don't need a lot of people for you to find out where your center is, then that would certainly be vital for your after quarantine and well into your future. Because what I'm trying to do is build you up after taking you down to what my mother used to say, the white meat. She said, I only want the white meat. So taking it down to the white meat, to the bone of getting to the issues that may be bothering you and getting rid of the things that could be hurting you. And as I said, it could be people, it could be possessions, it could be your position that you're in. All those are P's. But it gets down to the people that we are. Who are we as a person? What are you versus what is the multitude of people that you may know? Because we all know a lot of people. But the point is do you know yourself? Do you know yourself? Can you come to grips with yourself, being honest, being factual, being truthful? You take that multiple intelligences personality test, it's going to tell you some things about yourself. And it makes it where we're not feeling left out. If anything, you're going to find yourself in a position to not only make decisions for yourself, but come back to the we later on and show that you have your own voice. You have your own way forward. You have your own ideas. You have your own concepts. You have your own concerns, your own issues. Those are personal, okay? And you can go on back out there, and what I feel is that you're girded up. You become your own support, the trees that stand by themselves, okay, that are solid trees, and they haven't been affected by the wind and all that. And some of the trees that have, in fact, I saw a picture yesterday where the tree was knocked down, but the roots were still in the ground. And so therefore the roots, guess what, still nourished the tree, which had fallen, but it was not dead. It wasn't dead. And that's us. We may have fallen down, but we're not dead. We still have an opportunity to do something for ourselves. And so what I'm saying is use this time now wisely. In fact, I have a friend that we always talk about, don't die with a book in you. That's her slogan. And many of us can write our story and help others only because we've been down some dark streets we've been with some dark individuals in terms of the dominant, subdominant personalities that we, do. We end up hiding from who we really are, and we let other people take over. What I'm saying, come out from under all of that. Get rid of it. It doesn't serve you well, because it serves them well, because sometimes people like to have folks over them. They have to be told what to do. I figure if you're in a position of authority, then be in the position of authority. I can tell myself what to do. That's your position. If you're leading a group of other people at your job, or at some kind of community group, then be authoritative in that position. But you first have to know who you are as an individual. Are you easily swayed? Can someone, good morning, Julio, can someone just tell you what to do and you not look for it for yourself in terms of facts, in terms of supportive documentation? Sometimes we don't do that, and we need to. We need to know ourselves. Who are we? How can we move forward if we haven't investigated who we really are? I'm hoping all of you will say, boy, after quarantine, I really came up with something. I had done some things that made sense. Good morning, Sean. And so that's where we're gonna look at it. And the last question is, well, no, that was the last question. I only gave you 3 today. So the first question is, what must you give up, if anything? What must you give up? People, position, power, perceived, whatever. What must you give up? The next question is, what do you need to find when you go down to your basement? What do you need to find? What will your treasures be? What are the hopeful treasures you will find? Will you find your strength down there? Will you find your confidence down there? Oh, by the way, I do have my confidence cup this morning. I have my cup of confidence and my serenity on the other side. So what would you find? What other treasures are you looking for? Can you find your happiness? So strength and happiness and peace, tranquility, kindness, all of those things. Good morning, my niece, Rhonda. It would be wonderful if when you came up from your basement, you had, not the physical arm of, but actually, you're hugging yourself because you're embracing yourself with some newness, some new things that you forgot you had, forgot you owned, forgot that they were yours. But they are. All these things, to be happy to me is very important, and I can make myself happy. And I tell you, you can always get me. I'm good on a laugh. Give me a good laugh, child. I'll throw my head back. So the point is that you have to come up with some things that really you're going to embrace them at the top of those steps. And guess what? You have more steps to climb. So even when you go to your basement and you're decluttering and you're getting rid of and you're saying, I don't need that anymore and I don't need that anymore. And then you can do the physical clutter, but you also have to do the emotional clutter. And then you have to clear your head. All those are, that's decluttering. That's everything. That is everything. So the first questions again, what must you give up, if anything? What do you need to find? And who is the one person that you go to during a crisis? And I said one. I didn't say the we. I said you and somebody else. Okay, that's a different we. That's a duo. I'm not talking about coming up with a trio and a quad and a small group of folks. No, I'm not even talking about the 10 that they tell you that you can be with. I'm talking about what one other person. And you may have several one other persons. I think I have 3 or 4 people that if something's going down, I can certainly go to them. And I also know that you can go to God. I do. Like when there's things that are beyond my control, I have to go up. But this question is for the human person. Okay, what human would you go to? And hopefully you have your spiritual following that you would certainly knit into. But anyway, I don't want you to quit. That was today's session that I talked about. And I'm not going to read the poem again, but it's online. It's called Don't Quit. And basically it tells you no matter what you're doing, even if I've asked you to keep going down to the basement, eventually hopefully you're going to indicate that you've come out of your basement and you're letting go of a few things, and you're going to be able to write them down, and let folks know that, hey, look, wow, this is working for her or him. It's a way forward. And that's what I want. I'm looking for some people to come out of this and say, hey, Sandy, can I work with you later? And yes, you can. I'll let you know. My company is called Winnie and Associates, and I've been in business now 5 years. I help with educational goals. If you want to go back to school, I've helped a few people finish up their doctorates, and so I'm quite proud of that, especially since some people didn't think that they could even get through with a master's, but they did. And then they're moving on to getting a doctorate and completing it. So there's success. What is your level of new success that you want? What's a goal that you want? What is it? I can certainly help you with that. I also do event planning and all kinds of things. But my love for you, even though I may not even know you, is that one, you took the time to stop in. You scrolled and stopped. The other thing is that I'm here for you. You can call me or text me at 850-206-4814. Then I also have a YouTube station, so if you don't want to keep going back and trying to search for all of these videos, this will be my 19th video. Wow, just based on a challenge to do some changing for myself and others, and that's what's happening. So I'm certainly thankful for that. I'm thankful for the person who encouraged me. And then my YouTube station is YouTube/user/SANN, that's SANN, BAM, BAMM. I don't know how I got like that, but that is my little handle. And you'll find all of these videos there. And the last thing is that I will be starting a podcast within the next, month or two. I got to wait till the equipment comes in. It seems to be that they're backlogged on getting the equipment I need, which would be my interface. So I'm stepping out on faith that I've been blessed with my multiple intelligences that I want to use. I'm asking you to discover yours. I'm also asking that you don't look back. You find your own lot. And lot is also the parcel of land. Find yours. Stand on it. Be strong. Be forward. I will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time on Sandy's Little Space here. Are you stuck? Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Love you. Bye-bye.